So, she still can't quite get the nomination because of the pesky Bernie Sanders.
You cursed brat! Look what you've done!
But still, she continues to move. And really, to me, the thing that, I think, Bubba, help me with this. Tell me where you are, other than all you can think about is you don't have a DJ today. But if I could move you out of that for just a minute.
It's going to be tough to move him, Rick.
But I want to say this. I don't know where my anger is right now. Is my anger directed at the complete – this has been going on for as long as once we found Bill Clinton, we've been dealing with the Clintons ever since. Okay?
Oh, yeah, we've been blessed for a long time.
It's been a long time. What bothers you the most? I'm at a battle with myself. Their attempts to just be so full of mud.
Yeah.
Does that bother you, or the fact that people actually buy the mud and actually they think, oh yeah, man, they're sincere. They're not pandering to me. Man, they're a champion for my cause. Which one of those bothers you the most?
Well, Rick, it looks like it could be a tie.
Yeah, it is. But anyway, so she is going
down the stretch.
They are just so full of it.
You're about to hear it again.
It's unbelievable. I mean, FOS.
She is
full
talking.
Of stuff.
They call it an Al Sharpton group. I don't even know what that means.
What is the National Action Network?
Oh, boy.
No justice, no peace.
Yeah, and of course, every time we check the paperwork of anything Sharpton has been tied to, whatever name he's calling it now, as he moves to try to, we find corruption and misuse of funds and just a total.
Has he paid his taxes?
Yeah, I hate to bring this up. One of the people that Christopher Hitchens next hour could not stand was Al Sharpton. You know why? He said, it's one thing for me to deal with somebody who's sincere, kind of like the illusionist, Penn and Teller guy, that guy. He said, look, when somebody's sincere about their faith, I may think it's goofy, but at least they're sold out, to it. But he said that Hitchens hated Al Sharpton because he said he's a charlatan. He pretends to be a Christian, but he really isn't. And he said that he had more disdain for that than he even had devout followers of Christ who were trying to live out what they thought they were commanded to, or they believed they were commanded to do. So anyway, so she's going to see him and talk to Sharpton's bunch. And should I just let her speak for herself?
Yeah.
She takes because I've got the quotes here.
Yeah, she takes a shot at the Republicans running for office and then some other things.
All right, here we go.
Runner for the Republican nomination was asked in a national television interview to disavow David Duke and other white supremacists supporting his campaign. He played coy. This is the same Donald Trump who led the insidious birther movement to delegitimize President Obama. He has called Mexican immigrants rapists and murderers. He wants to ban all Muslims from entering the United States, and the list goes on. And not to be outdone by his primary rival, Ted Cruz would treat Muslim Americans like criminals and religiously profile their neighborhoods. White Americans need to do a much better job of listening when African Americans talk about the seen and unseen barriers you face every day. We need to recognize our privilege and practice humility rather than assume our experiences are everyone else's experiences.
Okay, now.
Wow.
I can't even breathe.
Turn my microphone off now. I almost crashed my car yesterday when I heard it.
The Clintons are an example of humility. The Clintons are an example of how white people should behave. The Clintons are they're the shining white example on the hill.
Yeah.
Of how white people should behave. And to me, there's nothing more disrespectful than you and your husband have made a whole living convincing black people that they're doomed without you. I mean, y'all are some of the biggest modern-day slave owners we've ever had.
Unbelievable.
And here's the thing, and again, I defend Trump, whatever. I'm not going to do that one way or the other, but those things she mentioned have been addressed.
They have.
And when she talked about the birther movement on Obama, so you're assuming the only reason he did that was because he was black, right?
Right.
That's what she was insinuating.
Unbelievable.
Not the fact that he don't like his politics and he thought he's not a citizen, he wanted him out. She basically portrayed it. He did that because he was a black president.
And to prove that's not,
basically what she said.
To prove that's not true, he's tried to do the same thing to Cruz.
Exactly.
On being a Canadian. So it had nothing to do with skin color.
Yeah, he has a history of that. But I think if you'll go back, I think the Clintons had a hand in the beginning of the birther movement back in South Carolina when Hillary was running against
That's
her.
conveniently forgotten. That's conveniently forgotten. Guys, surely
She is the one who tried to prevent Obama from being president. I mean, that's the only one in the room that ran against him.
That's right.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, Bernie Sanders gets 3 check marks from me on that one.
That was a good
Right.
one. And see, he's done cut into her lead in New York, and she's feeling the heat. And the black vote is what's put her on her way. So she is going to pander to that.
Well,
and
I
just
think there's
wear it
been
out.
some clear thinking African Americans that have had the courage to look at how the Clintons have claimed to be the answer to all the problems of the African American community, but have never once delivered on that, and they continue to be used whenever the Clintons need them. And this thing where she uses fake accents and acts like she it crossed the bridge in Selma and all this garbage. And
well, Rick, I think a good question is the Clintons were in the White House for 8 years. Okay, she served as Secretary of State. She was in the Obama administration. The Obama administration has been in 8 years.
Don't forget when she represented New York.
Yeah, she's been in as a senator.
Yep.
So, she's got, just in round figures here, 25 years of public service where she was in a top-level position to influence policy, influence things that were being done. When this is the second time she's run for president, so she's been on the tour, had microphones before. What has she done that has really made a difference? Or is it just another speech? I mean, I think that's a fair question.
And do you really buy that she doesn't live a life of privilege?
Yeah.
And do you really buy she does that with humility and her treatment?
I think the respect of the law is big for her. Don't you think?
Right.
Yeah, what about that?
Right. This is Once again, the liberal Democrats are doing their same old deal. Can I give this? As long as a liberal, especially white Democrat, is alive, I want the African American community to understand one thing: you have never arrived. For the rest of as long as they exist, they will constantly let you get to a certain place, and then they're going to hold you just a minute, because if you ever get to where you are maximizing your potential through maximum freedom and the free market system, then they're going to come to the horrifying conclusion that you don't need them anymore. And then what they do is they get in bed with these so-called civil rights leaders and take care of them, and together they keep convincing you that without them, you're doomed, and the evil, privileged white people are going to get you. And as long as they keep selling you that garbage and you keep eating it, they got you. You're back on a modern-day plantation, and they're running it.
Well, just a simple question. What has changed? What has really changed?
That they had anything to do with it.
That you can say that life is better, that they were responsible for.
Bottom of the hour, we'll be right back.
Rick and Bubba, Rick and Bubba.
Bill is standing by. Bill, welcome to the program. How are you, sir? Go right ahead.
I'm doing fine. I just called in on about the comment you just made about the Clintons.
Yes.
And I just want to let you guys know that not all blacks follow the Clintons, or Reverend Jesse Jackson or Al Sharpton does not speak for me and a lot of my friends.
Yeah, and
I would never vote for Hillary Clinton because they played a race card too much for me.
Right, and you're a person who said, at one time that might have been, appropriate, but now you're going to look. We're moving on. You're out here. I'm looking that you're driving a truck right now. I'm a businessman. I'm making my own way. Hey, the trail for you might be tougher than the trail for somebody else, but you're still in a country that allows you to maximize who you are. But the problem is when people like you, and I've seen this happen. I have friends and acquaintances that have done the same thing. They're no longer embraced by, and I'm using quotations, the community. You're not considered to be the one who's made the right choice. That's the sad part.
Exactly. I own the tractor trailer I drive. My daughter goes to a private Catholic school. I'm living the American dream compared to the road my father had to take. My father never went to school. He had to pick cotton as a kid, and he worked hard for me to have a chance to prosper in America. And the Clintons and most of the Democratic Party use black Americans just for their vote.
No question.
That's just my personal opinion.
Well, and coming for you, it holds a lot more water than coming from me, and I recognize that, so I'm glad you said it. And I appreciate you calling.
Bill,
And,
thank you for calling.